and welcome. Welcome to the aftermath arena number 2. So excited, so happy to be joining you all once again for some extremely high-level Stormgate matches. We have got some fantastic matches tonight. Last week, we saw some incredible Infernal versus Vanguard play, and this week we have nothing short of the same. Let me show you guys who we've got coming up for you today. Starting us off, we are going to be looking at Highdra versus Albino in a best of 3. Following that up with Night Phoenix versus Boss in another best of 3. And to cap off the night, we have Snoxtar versus Myosotis, aka Percival. I think he goes by either one of those. But this is going to be a very exciting night of Stormgate. Once again, guys, I do appreciate you all for joining in. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell your enemies even, I'll take them too, that this is going to be hopefully more of a regular occurrence as we can stream Stormgate. We are working, of course, within the NDA sort of timelines here, so we wanted to make sure to get a second aftermath arena out to you guys as soon as we possibly could. And we're looking into possibly doing a third one. I don't know if we'll have time, because I believe the NDA for Stormgate resumes on March 11th, but we're still, again, still looking into all of that. But thank you all. Thank you for joining us tonight and for supporting Aftermath. Exclamation mark Aftermath in the chat. We'll get you over to our social pages so that you guys don't miss out on any of what we have in store in the future. But I would say, guys, that's it. That's all I've got. Without further ado, I think we should go ahead and jump into our game number 1, which again is going to be Highdra versus Albino. Yeah, you know, let's just do it. Let's start it off. Let's load it up and get to it. Guys, joining me in Broken Crown, another Infernal versus Vanguard on one of the most OG maps of the game. In the bottom right corner of the map, representing the Blue Infernals, it is Highdra. And in the top right corner of the map, representing the Red Vanguard, he is Albino. Now, Albino already breaking from the mold of what we've seen a lot of Vanguard's players do, immediately starting up a barracks here, as he gets his dog harass going on the other side of the map. We've seen a lot of Vanguard players skip this early barracks, feeling that they have enough pressure with the dogs early on to get enough scouting, even potentially harassing. Oh my god, though, Albino getting his dog stuck between 2 workers. It's an absolute disaster start for him. Oh my goodness, as the good woofer goes down with Nary and Imp destroyed. This Gaunt is feeling very happy to go out on the map here, potentially even start creeping, which usually you gotta be a little careful on Broken Crown to start creeping when there's a dog on the map, but there's not, or at least that's what Highdra thinks. As we see, there is a Lancer and dog being built right afterwards. Albino choosing to delay his natural expansion by quite a long time here. Now, Highdra knows there's got to be a Gaunt out on the map somewhere here. He's searching for it with his Lancer. He sees that the speed camp is gone. He knows immediately, boom. Oh, right here. Oh my god, did it get stuck? Wait a second. Okay, the Lancer trying to navigate through the trees. The Gaunt sees that that Lancer is available, and there's another dog on the map here. So this Gaunt will go down. He's trying to do some cute body blocking here. Goes for the flower to try to deny it from the Gaunt here. It looks like one of them will get picked up. A little bit of healing done, but ultimately this Gaunt is indeed going to go down. But at a bit of a cost to Albino. Again, losing that first dog, meaning he's got to remake that in order to keep that pressure going the way that he wanted to. This map's so good for Infernal if you're able to get those early speed camps with your Gaunts. You just get so much Fiend power, and it builds so nicely into a 2-base Doombringer drop. Albino going for mass Lancer production. Looks like potentially just getting enough Therium to go for that Lancer speed upgrade. And now I would imagine going to go for a bit of an expansion. Yeah, going to go ahead and expand with the Bobs off of Therium. Staying 10 out of 12 on Luminite and going into Therium instead. But so many Lancers out on the map. And even just denying these creeps from the Infernal player, denying them from Highdra really, really keeps him back. Okay, Lancers are going to move forward here. There's 4 Lancers out on the map. These Gaunts are getting jumped on immediately here. Now, they don't have the speed upgrade, but they are able to catch up to these no problem. Gets a nice surround going. That's going to be 2 Gaunts going down so quickly. The Brute almost taking down the dog there. It might die to the infestation damage, but we'll have to see. This Gaunt possibly escaping barely with its life. It will not. The range of the Lancer is a bit too long. And they're not going to stay too long against this Brute here. They just want to try to take out those Gaunts. Those Gaunts really accelerate the Infernal's early game, allowing them that map presence, allowing them to harass on the other side. Meanwhile, on this side of the map here, Albino, what's he going to expand into? Is this just going to be another barracks? No, it's going to be a hangar by the looks of it. Yes, indeed it is. Going into some Hornets here. Albino temporarily, I know, broke the ladder with a mass Hornet build. That was, well, let's just be honest, it was a real pain in the ass to deal with. Highdra, however, getting a really solid economy going here. Just now upgrading into a greater shrine. No tech thus far, no direction. Another conclave, another 2 conclaves going to go down here as we're going to try to expand to a 3rd on the Infernal side of things. Lancers, once again, walking around just trying to see if they can get some damage done to any stray Gaunts that might be on the map. Interesting as well that Albino has chosen not to go for the health camp. That was something we saw basically every Infernal player do no matter what, was basically just start with that health camp as soon as you had any Lancers out. Now this Hornet is on the other side of the map. It is going to go ahead and get one of these Gaunts. It's got to be careful not to stay too in range of this shadow, this Shroud Zone, excuse me. And it's going to go back to try to finish off this this meat camp, which it will be able to do here. You got to be very careful with your Gaunts when you're taking on these Hornets here. They can do so much DPS so quickly. Vanguard, of course, does have the ability to shield one of their units and give it quite a lot of resistance and shielding. And I almost wonder if this isn't a mistake from Albino to not go for this health camp in the meantime. But, you know, I mean, the pressure that we have here going... Double Doombringer. I mean, that seems to be a bit of a greedy mistake here against these Hornets. Doombringer is not very cheap. Quite a costly investment to go for a double Doombringer drop. Not even able to fill up 1 Doombringer at the moment. And Albino now, so much time to prepare for this. He knows what Hydra's doing. Was that an imp that went in there? Do we actually have the flaming imp upgrade? We may. Let's see. Now, I don't see any imps in this guy. So it looks like that's not the case here. 3 Hornets coming into battle. And I don't love it. 3 Gaunts versus 3 Hornets. That's not good numbers for the Gaunts, unfortunately. All right, but it looks like the Lancers will be pushed back here. The Brute's doing a very solid amount of damage, but now... there's nothing to defend against the air here. They have free reign attacking into these Brutes. Gaunt does get a little bit of damage done here. They are quite low. You got to be careful of that infest damage. Oh, it's so low. Is it going to live? Oh, it doesn't even retreat back to base to heal, I don't think. Okay, he's actually just manually healing it up, I think. Yes, he is. He's not actually doing their ability to return to hangar and heal up. Okay, another command center going down here at the 3rd for Albino. Still not taking the health camp. But I guess he did basically lose almost all of his Lancers. Not sure if that's intentional or just if he's focused on too many other things right now. I don't know. But the Hornets are not stopping. They are going to be going for this third base here. Highdra absolutely needs to defend this third, needs to plant this down, get this base secured. But he keeps defending with just low numbers of gaunts here, and that gaunt number keeps resetting. It's such a painful thing for him to deal with, as they're desperately trying to take that third base here. Okay, a Twilight is done, rather, which means we could see Shadow Flyers. A Ritual Chamber is almost finished as well. And indeed, 2 of those Hornets do go down. I don't know if that was a Shadow Flyer hit there, or if that was just a bit too greedy from Albino, losing a couple of those Hornets. But the Hornet production has not stopped. He's got the increased production, but it looks like eventually he is going to try to transition into more of a barracks play. Okay, he sends one of those Hornets back here. Oh, the Shadow Flyers, though, do manage to get a connection on one of them. But I believe these 2 Hornets are going to live. Now that there are Shadow Flyers out on the map, is Albino going to continue with the Hornets? Or does he decide to transition onto the ground? It looks like it is a ground transition on the way. There are medics on the way here. Quite a number of medics, in fact, and a lot of barracks is here. So Albino trying to go into the very solid Lancer Medic Exo style that we've seen dominate so many Infernals. These Hornets, though, a constant thorn in Hydra's side. There's that shield ability that we were discussing earlier. But Highdra now kind of getting to a scary force here. A Weaver out on the map, trudging his way through the fields, as now Highdra looks to take the offensive. A large amount of Lancers over here, though. I almost wonder if this isn't a little too exposed. They are now going to move in here. The Medic's going forward. The Weaver is going to start tanking some of the damage as much as it can. The Hornet's moving in from the back, trying to pick off these gaunts, trying to take out the backline support, and it looks like they will be successful in doing so. These Lancers, though, speed upgrade is finished. They do pull back some, trying to get these medics, healing them up. The Hornets now uncontested, adding so much DPS to this army. And the pullback micro on these Hornets is looking really good here so far. So many Lancers reinforcing now as well. This Weaver going down. A Shadow Flyer. Does it get a connection? It does not. It looks like it was exploded in the air there. And that is going to be GG. Highdra leaves the game as Albino goes for a wonderful defense against that attack. A very consistent pressure, holding that early game very early. Losing the dog between one of the buildings in true Albino fashion. And then just very, very crisply afterwards, holding the map and really making it hard for Highdra to get anything done. But extremely well played to both our players there. Highdra, that push at the end, looking pretty nice, but just not able to get up to a third base. Those gaunt numbers getting reset by so many Hornets, and that attack kind of just being, that pressure just being a bit more constant than I think they were prepared for at that point. But let's not delay. I think it's time to get into game 2 of Albino versus Highdra. And where are we going for game 2? We were Broken Crown on game 1. Shall we see? Waiting for it to load. Waiting for it to load. Oh my goodness. Well, if it isn't the absolute best map in the pool, completely fair and balanced, as all things are intended, bringing us to Jagged Maw, it is game 2 of the Highdra versus Albino best of 3. On the bottom right corner, he's down a game, but he's not out. Looking to tie it up 1-1. It is the Infernal player, Highdra. And taking a very crisp and clean game 1, looking to keep that aggression up in game 2. It is the Vanguard player, Albino. All right, dog harass on the other side of the map. To be expected at this point, and we see a double conclave, 1 base opener so far. The dog doing everything it can to prevent the Shroud Stone from going up early. So I feel like at this point, Albino already is aware. Hey, here. Hydra's going to go for a siege camp rush. Very popular style from the Infernals on this map. Excellent dog micro, however. Keeping that imp from making a Shroud Stone too quickly. But now the timer has started. The clock is on. And Highdra begins to take down this siege camp. On the other side of the map, what is Albino's response? Not going for an early natural. Again, just staying with that barracks here. And is this going to be just Lancer production? Are we going to see a bunch more dogs? I'm not sure. This dog's solo, but alive. So an improvement over game one. Going to repair up the good woofer. And it is going to be some Lancers coming out here. And already, actually, there's a Lancer on the other side of the map. I apologize, I didn't see this. And this Lancer is just going to tank into this Shroud Stone. It doesn't care. Doesn't lose it. But one Gaunt does go down there. So that, again, takes some of the steam out of Hydra's sails as he's trying to get the siege camp down as fast as possible. And this is all in. This is all in from Highdra here. No expansion going down. The double conclave just going to be pumping out Gaunts for the rest of the game. As Highdra is going to try to leverage the siege camp. Imp is now breaking down the wall. Let's see what Albino is doing on this side of the map here. Okay, does in fact decide to go for his natural here. And throwing down, to my eyes, what looks to be a biokinetics lab. Okay, double sentry post coming up here. But Highdra is already on his side of the map. The siege camp, the catapult is here. Will these Bobs be able to finish this in time? They won't. They cancel it. Bob Overcharge does get pulled. And they're desperately trying to finish up this sentry post, but it's not going to work. It does get destroyed. There's just too much here. I feel like Albino didn't quite realize how quickly these units were going to be able to make it to this side of the map. Now this catapult attacks onto that sentry post. It does manage to kill it. These Bobs are all so low. And that's going to be GG. That's it. That's it. Highdra winning game 2 on the most jagged maw way possible, going for the early catapult and managing to catch Albino off his game. Albino doing a great job pressuring in the other game with the dog, delaying that Shroud Stone, and in fact, even killing a Gaunt with one of the Lancers there, but maybe believing he had just a little bit more time, or thinking that they weren't going to destroy the middle and perhaps go for an around the world catapult, as we've seen some Infernals do. I'm not sure. But what I do know is that means if we get a game 3, and I couldn't be happier. Fantastic play there from Highdra. A crisp execution of Jagged Maw, which is kind of its own meta, man. Like Jagged Maw, you know, you got Broken Crown, you got Titan's Causeway, you got Secluded Forest, right? Those are all like regular, you know, Infernal versus Vanguard, Vanguard versus Vanguard, Infernal versus Infernal. Those are all regular matchups that happen over there. But when you go to Jagged Maw, that's when you truly enter the aftermath arena. That's when you truly enter. You're not playing an aftermath arena show match until you play Jagged Maw. But enough from me. Let's go ahead and go into game number 3, which is going to be taking us back to Broken Crown. And once again, spawning in the top right corner of the map, it is your Vanguard player, Albino. Hoping to get the series match point for both of our players here. And in the bottom left corner of the map here on Broken Crown, tying the game up 1-1, hoping to make it a clean 2-1 sweep. It's Highdra All right, a bit of a different opener here from Highdra, going for a very cheeky Iron Vault on the map here. Conclave in the main, so this is looking maybe like a similar build. The dog deciding to not tempt fate by going in between these two buildings here. The respect now from Albino, who does still want to go in for a couple of pecks against these imps. But this is going to be a fast speed camp style. This style got pretty popular for a long time. I feel like it's still pretty popular, honestly, on Broken Crown. To go for breaking the trees and then sending Gaunts plus Brutes over to the speed camp here. Okay, but Albino, bit of a glutton for punishment here, wants to get as much damage done to these Gaunts as possible. All the damage you can do early on really will help if you want to try to deny them from creeping, and there's already a Lancer out. The Scout does manage to get the HP flower. And now Highdra, it's kind of a race against the clock here. Does need to start doing this speed camp quickly, as there is now a Lancer that's in pursuit. Gonna immediately jump on top of this Gaunt here. The Scout comes to reinforce, but it looks like it was actually attacking a Gaunt that was being created. Oh my goodness! Okay, a couple of flowers pre-killed here by the Gaunt. I didn't actually notice that, as they just try to micro and kite around this Lancer in a bit of danger. Full HP Lancer is going to be going for this Gaunt here, as the Lancer now hits the slow camps and is going to hang out with the speed camps for just a little bit. These Brutes almost able to get the damage done. Going to split those into Fiends, and it looks like will manage to kill both of these Lancers in return. Fiends actually quite good versus Lancers. Okay, Scout still out on the map here. Pulling a hefty 7 workers off of the lines in order to start that expansion here. Perhaps also going for a barracks at the same time. No, all 7 going to be going for that command post. No expansion quite yet from Highdra, who is still just pumping out Gaunts here. Again, the early game got slowed down just a bit. And it looks like actually not really going to go for this speed camp. In fact, going to go into the main, thinking he's got an opportunity here to take Albino out of this one. The sentry post now finished. Bobs are hugging this to try to get the heals. Now, okay, a Lancer does enter, which means that you're going to get the Chainsaw Blade. I really don't have a good name for this. Chainsaw Blade is what we call it in the business, though. And a very panicked yet solid defense here from Albino, who was kind of in danger of just losing at that moment. Early game pressure from Infernals really lives and dies on, do you have Fiends? Checkbox for yes, checkbox for no. All right, Highdra gonna go for the creeps. Very easy speed camp to take here with 2 Brutes tanking no problem for these Fiends here. Gonna grab the speed camp. Now, Highdra knows there's a sentry post and knows that there's more Lancers, so really this early game aggression probably not going to be too effective. Might be able to slip some Fiends into the main if they wanted to go for some kind of aggression here. Only 5 out of 12 on Luminite in the main, as there's 6 workers on Ethereum. That's so many. Let's check on what Hydra's up to here. No Greater Shrine quite yet. Natural just now finishing. Another Conclave going up towards the 3rd. And it looks like might just be saving up some Ethereum to go for a Greater Shrine. Potentially go for some Doombringer drops. The early game here from Highdra looking a lot better, though. Granted, Natural was a bit later of an expansion, but way more map presence, way more creep potential. One of these Brutes will go down to that speed camp, but no big deal. It's really not that big of a deal to lose Brutes in the early game, it seems like, because, you know, you just get Fiends. And Fiends are just amazing. They just deal so much damage. Albino, once again, trusting the Hornet play from last game. Gonna go for a hanger again, and we're gonna, I'm assuming, see some more Hornets. Okay, a Doombringer now out on the map, however. Many Fiends to defend against any ground attack, but mind you, Hornets are air units, so Fiends aren't too useful there. It looks like both players trusting the style that they were playing in game 1. Hydra going for that double Doombringer drop once more. Albino going for the Hornets. This time, however, it looks like Hydra has a much scarier attack. Doombringer's put down all the units here. The Gaunt's going to start getting some damage in there, but the Hornet going to fly back to base, heal back up to full. But a little bit of harassment done there, and Albino getting about as much advance warning as he possibly could. These Lancers, quite effective, of course, versus the Gaunts. And Hydra does need to worry about these Hornets pressuring, even just delaying the attacks by a little bit here. If he's able to kill these Doombringer, even one of them, oh, and he does manage to take it down. That's about half of this force not going to be able to join the fight. Oh my goodness. That is quite a lot of steam out of Hydra's sails. It may not matter. Hydra may just choose to attack the front line. One Lancer is going to go down here. These 3 Hornets trying to use the high ground to make it difficult for these Gaunts to extend and reach and attack them. Ooh, very close on these Hornets. Really, really solid saves, though, from Albino so far. Third base is going to go down here. Hydra, not quite expanding. And now going for the Twilight so that we can get some Shadow Flyers in the mix here. Hornets, once again, going out on the map, finding some damage, killing even just a few Gaunts. Another Doombringer goes down. Are any of these Hornets ever going to die this game? It just doesn't seem like it. As there's a double... I don't know where they're going. A little bit overshot it, guys. We need you back here in order to heal you. I will say Hydra's ground army is just slowly getting bigger and bigger, but he's got to get some damage done soon. Now that Albino just has the economic advantage here, he's kind of had that from the jump. I'm a little worried for Hydra here, who is still sitting on 2 bases. Hornets now going into the natural. Super Shroud Stone does get dropped. Micros back one of the Hornets here. Manages to destroy that, but 3 Shadow Flyers very nearby. Albino's got to be careful. Oh, one of them will collide. The Banelings of the air. Now, this is always funny. I think this is going to kill it. Maybe not. Okay, nope. Does manage to take it down there. Currently, guys, once a Shadow Flyer locks on, it is locked on for life. It either dies or explodes and then dies anyways. Fast thinking here from Albino, preventing those Fiends from getting into the third. All right, and the Hornets once again trying to get some damage done here. There's so much here from Hydra, though, who pops a shield on his sentry post with a Lancer in it. There are some Lancers, but they're not able to get good connections here. They're kind of stuck in these chokes. Hornets, though, getting a lot of damage in there. Oh, my goodness. Okay, Hydra pulling back some. Brutes now trying to go forward. These Lancers all so close to death. The health camp. I yearn for Albino to take the health camp for these poor Lancers. They're so thirsty. Shadow Flyers now joining the mix once again. Hornets are basically all down. It's down to these Lancers. Okay, sentry post finishing up. Albino pulling back. Does he pop the Bob overcharge? He does not yet. A Lancer in that sentry post. And slowly but surely, Hydra's numbers are dwindling out here, but he's rallying across the map. What do we have in the natural? We just have Lancer production so far. Albino's got to make something out of nothing here. He's only down... He's down to about 6 Lancers here, and he's cut off from his reinforcement paths. Now, there are 2 Shadow Flyers in the air, but they're not really going to get anything done, as no more Hornet production has started. Defender's advantage here for Albino, going pretty well, but the Gaunt numbers are rising. If Hydra can get on top of these Bobs and start turning them all into Fiends, I feel like that's going to be it. All right, Bob overcharge happened as Hydra jumps into the natural, tries to make it happen here. All the Brutes, though, only 2 of them left. And the Bobs with overcharge are attacking units, guys. Okay, these Lancers, speed upgrade, finished up now. Gonna try and contest and take down as many of these Gaunts as possible. Is this a bit too far of an overextend, though? It doesn't look like it, as Albino goes even further. Tries to get all of these Gaunts, knows that they're the most dangerous units right now, and runs back home. The speed advantage of the Lancers with the upgrade is absolutely crazy. Just completely gets control and goes back into Hornet production. The Hornet going to start coming out once again. There's only 3 Gaunts available at the moment here, but these 2 Shadow Flyers make short work of that Hornet. Okay, Lancers once again poking in. Even if Albino took that health camp, he wouldn't be able to reach it. The Infestation coming out here only manages to catch one of those, as the Lancer speed upgrade is just so fast. And he goes in, thinking he has the advantage here. He's going to try to jump on top of these Gaunts. 2 more Lancers joining. 3, actually, from the main. Lancers now cutting off the reinforcement path, but so many Brutes jumping on top of these Lancers. They're coming back here. It's so close, but I think Albino might have the numbers advantage. We got to be careful, though, as these Fiends start to kind of cascade. Oh, my goodness, it's so close. Oh, but I think that's going to be it here. The Lancers now jumping on top of these Gaunts. Going to take down all of these units that are trying to just run back to base here. Might be able to save this Brute. Not quite sure. Doesn't look like it. Okay, Brute's going to make it back home. But no third this whole time from Highdra. And Albino's been mining 3 bases for this entire attack and has managed to defend a double Doombringer drop. Once again, going to try to go across the map and get some damage done to the eco, but there's so many Lancers here. I just don't know if it's really going to do anything. The Hornet flies into action, going to start harassing these Doombringers immediately here. And look at that DPS, it's so high. Might be able to get it, chooses not to risk it though. Mind you, these trees are not destroyed, so Albino can't join his Hornet in the attack. 1 Doombringer, though, gets left behind. I think this was unintentional from Highdra. Does Albino notice? Now, mind you, I don't think he'd be able to kill it so long as that Shrine teleport was still active on this. Hornet flies so close. He's going to see it. He does see it. Goes for the Doombringer. Hydra's he's gotta lift it. Oh, no, he's going to lose it. Oh, that's the 3rd Doombringer of this game. Is he going to save it? Oh, it's so close. It was so close. 3rd base now finishing up for Highdra. 4th base is in production. I like it. 1 behind, double expand. The armies, though, once again. Albino on simple Lancer production. Now medics joining the fray. Ooh, but maybe a bit of a cutoff here as these medics are going to get jumped on immediately. The Lancers, though, charge into battle. Jump right on top of these Gaunts. There's not enough Brutes to tank for them. Oh, and there's just too many Lancers here. The Gaunts retreat path completely destroyed. The Doombringer, oh my goodness, almost goes down, but the Hornet, in fact, does get killed there. I miss if there was a Shadow Flyer. I think that was just Gaunt damage, though. And the Lancers now going to push the advantage, or not, actually. Nope, I was correct. They are going to go. Okay, medics in the back here. Lancer's going to tank at the front, and I don't think Highdra has enough to try to defend this base at this point. 3rd base is going to go down. 4th base, however, just finishing up. Now, mind you, this base, while very important, did not have any workers at it yet. So the economy difference for Highdra right now not being felt. Exo's now streaming across the map as Albino feels comfortable enough to take his 4th and maybe even start looking to expand to a 5th. Okay. The scouting ability for Vanguard, though, showing that Highdra does have the other base here. Albino not getting too greedy. Super Shroud Stone does get dropped. Decides to back off. Doesn't want to fight into that here. Happy to play a patient game, feeling and knowing that he's ahead economically here. He doesn't feel the urge to end the game too soon. Vanguard late game can be very scary, especially if you've had the economic advantage for a while here. And it looks like he's just going to make that gap an economy even greater by taking out this 3rd once again here. Highdra contained to 2 bases. desperately needs to take a third, but just not going to be able to. And the Exa is now able to poke from behind the tree line, actually. Now, are these flaming imps? I think they may be. I think they may just be flaming imps, guys. Uh-oh. They do get scouted, though, basically immediately. Hydra's got to make something happen here. His army, a little slow to react in the back. And here we go. The flame on does happen. Albino, though, splits his army. Now, a good chunk of them does get damaged and killed. About a third of his army goes down there, but there's still just so much. And more flaming imps coming out. Look at that spread from Albino. Oh, my goodness. The split looks amazing there. And a GG well played as Albino takes game 3. That split there on the end, showing exactly what a Terran main can do. Except for he was a Zerg main. GG well played to both of our players. Fantastic work from Albino, taking the game 2-1 in our very first best of 3 for afterMath Arena. Number 2, guys, congratulations to Albino. Good job, man. Fantastic plays here from Highdra as well. His early game looking very, very solid. Keeping that pressure up on Vanguard, which is quite difficult to do when there are Hornets out. But those Doombringer drops just really not finding the damage that he was hoping for. Getting kind of picked off early. I guess that's the advantage, right, of the Hornets early on. Not only do you have some excellent harassment potential on the other side of the map, but you can also take those Doombringers out quite quickly. And Albino's micro is up to par, as he didn't really lose any of them.